Welcome back to Clean with Kate and my evening routine part 2. As you can see, it's taking me quite a lot longer this evening than usual, mainly because I'm doing it on my own. So I've found my timer. I've had a glass of water, so I've got my timer, and I'm just feeling, I'm lacking motivation a bit tonight, so I need to get my mojo going. So I'm going to set my timer and see if I can do a bit of speed cleaning. So here we go. And as a reward, when I've done this, and when I've done my evening laundry routine, I'm going to go online and I'm going to order myself some new timers. So I'm not spending so much time looking for them. And actually, this one's a bit worse for wear. Anyway, I'll keep banging it. I'm going to get it going. So it's off. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dry the dishes. Because actually, I've got a sink full of water bottles and glasses that have been soaking, but I haven't actually got anywhere to put them. So I'm going to start by drying the cutlery. The cutlery we have is quite old, antique cutlery. We like this old cutlery, and we use it all the time. It's silver plate, I think, a lot of it. And it just reminds me of my grandma. My grandma always had this sort of cutlery. And because we don't use a dishwasher, this sort of cutlery is okay. Right, I'm just going to pop the dog bowls over onto the Arga to dry, because that will save a little bit of time. One of the great things about having an Arga is it's great for drying dishes. It's also great for drying laundry, particularly in winter when you can dry the laundry next to it. It's always on. It always gives that heat. This is one of the very old-fashioned Argas. The more modern Argas nowadays, I think, do not give out as much heat, and they're not on all the time. But this is quite an old one, so it's on all the time. It does mean this because it's quite warm today. It actually feels like we're living in southern France in the kitchen, and the house is really warm, because the Arga gives out so much heat. But it does mean it's always ready to cook, and we cook a lot. We very rarely eat out, and to be fair, when we do eat out, we're quite often disappointed. My husband's a really good cook. For example, we actually did eat out today, and it was just disappointing. It wasn't particularly well, it was really basic. We had lunch out and we had cake. The cakes weren't sort of homemade cakes. Anyway, it was just disappointing. So that's why we've mainly eat at home. Because he's a really good cook and he makes really, really delicious food from scratch. I'm so lucky that he's such a good cook. But I mustn't take it for granted. Because I'm not a good cook. If it was just me, I'd probably live on salads. And in winter, I'd probably live on soup. I'm not a very adventurous cook, and maybe spaghetti bolognese. I can make spaghetti bolognese, and I can make a lasagna, but that's about it. Baked potatoes, things like that. Simple stuff, very simple cooking. It's one of my goals is to learn to cook this year, and I have been a bit experimenting a little bit, but I think I've just got to take more action. I've got lots of cookery books, even though I don't do a lot of cooking. So I'm going to rinse this bottle out, and then I'm going to pop the bottles on here. We went out today, it was really, really hot. So I actually took 3 bottles of water with me. Because we'd gone out as a family, I also took spare water in case anybody else wanted some. But actually, it's just me. I was the only one who drank it. We didn't have the dogs with us, so they would have had to take bottles for them as well. So in this hot weather, dogs do need to drink a lot. Because the dogs pant to cool down, which means they lose a lot of water. But we didn't take dogs with us. The place we went to wasn't dog friendly, and actually it wouldn't be too hot for them. Dogs don't like the heat. They'd rather just lie inside somewhere shady when it's hot. So when you walk your dogs at this time of year, you really need to keep to when it's warm. It obviously depends where in the world you are, but in the UK it's summer at the moment. But when we walk our dogs, we have to try and keep the walks too early in the morning and in the early evenings when it's cool. They really, really do not like hot weather, and literally they just get really lazy when it's hot because they just can't cope with it. They don't sweat, so they find it really difficult to lose heat. So they just rest, and we often find them lying on the cold tiled floors in the house trying to cool down because the house is quite warm. Anyway, while I've been chatting to you, I've actually washed the dishes. It's amazing, isn't it? If I wasn't chatting to you, I would probably listen to a podcast, or I would listen to something on YouTube talking about cleaning or health. I quite like listening to health podcasts, or I would put some really good music on that motivates me. I always find George Ezra, playlist with George Ezra in. I think the beat, something about the beat gets me moving. But obviously, it's different for everybody. If you have any particular good tips for things good to listen to while you're cleaning, please share them. I'd love to hear. Or any music that you found is particularly good. Anyway, I think I'm just about done here. I'm just going to give the little compost caddy a little wipe out. And then I'm going to put this cleaning cloth, which has had really good use today, into the utility room. I'll probably put it in soap, either in some bleach or in some Zoflora. Just give the compost caddy a wipe out. I'm going to stick the compost caddy up there just to dry. And I think that's me done. Oh my goodness, and the time is going. So I did that in 5 minutes. I will need to move the water bottles and the glasses over onto the Aga to dry, but I'll leave them just to drain for about 5 minutes. So anyway, that's me done. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you've got your evening routine completed. I will need to do my evening laundry routine next, because I have towels in the tumble dryer and I have laundry waiting to be hung on the air. I'm running quite late today, but I'd like to get it all done before I go to bed. Oh, switch that off. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying the videos and finding them motivating. Bye for now.